All right. I think I got my audio working. It took me a little bit longer, but I figured it out. And so here we are, going into week 6. But that means we have week 5 matchups to go over. And I know someone in particular didn't want to go over it. I it think uh, think they may be lost, but it's okay because I lost too, and we're gonna get right into it. Week 5, myself against Robert. Robert put the smacking on me on Thursday with DJ Moore. And Robert will verify that I texted him about the third quarter, maybe halftime, and I said, hey, congrats on your win because I'm not coming back from this. And I didn't. It's really hard to come back from a 49-point deficit on Thursday. If it happened Sunday, I'd probably be okay with losing by about 20, but Thursday sucks. He was also led with Trevor Lawrence. He had a pretty decent game. His points could have been a lot better too, but they got the win in Buffalo, and it was actually kind of an ugly game. CeeDee Lamb against the Niners, we just kind of destroyed them. Best team of the league. Let's go. Other than that, other than for like one person and their defense, he really didn't match his outputs. Well, except with Lawrence as well, but you kind of don't need to when you have somebody score 49 points. Um, all of my receivers kind of just had bad games. Tony Pollard going up against the Niners defense, that was terrible. Ferguson defense, Niners. I didn't realize I was running double Dallas as that, so that's kind of interesting. Brees Hall. Brees Hall finally had his breakout game. They took off the chains from him, and then CJ Stroud just didn't have his normal output that he should have had. You know, sometimes they just don't hit. I beat my projection though, so. But it is what it is. On to the next matchup. This might be the closest matchup of the week, and it is. Juan edging out Tony. Taking a look. I haven't seen any of these matchups yet, so this is all brand new to me. Leading the way with Jalen Hurts, Calvin Ridley showing out against Buffalo. Puka Nacua doing Puka Nacua things. It's kind of crazy. The Rams have this guy named Cooper Kupp. He kind of looks like he might be a little similar to Puka Nacua. James Conner actually injured on that game, and so you're gonna want to look for somebody to replace one of your starting running backs. Joe Mixon, he did whatever. Sam Laporta is turning out to be one of the best tight end sleepers in the league, especially with the way that Detroit's playing. They're going to keep beating him. I mean, I don't think he's had a bad game. Realistically, he has not had a bad game for a tight end spot. So, great pickup by Juan. I don't know if you drafted him, if you picked him up off the waivers. Great pickup. Pretty consistent throughout the rest of the way. Tony going down to 1-4. Stephon Diggs showed out and Gabe Davis showed out. This is a very interesting dynamic running both of the Buffalo wide receivers. Can it work in this instance? Absolutely. But you're going to want to be careful about the variable in play. If it's one of these guys' games, if it's Stephon Diggs going for 30, chances are Gabe Davis is probably not going to get that. So you might want to have a little bit more variable to your wide receiver spot. So maybe, potentially look to trade one of those guys away and get some value. And maybe this can be an area where you want to get some value for Damian Pierce. Kind of just had a bad game. He's a good runner. He's consistent the past couple days. First two games, I'm not going to put too much effort into that. And then Kyron Williams, especially with Cooper Kupp coming back, looks like Kyron's a little stop and go. Go, stop, go, stop. So who knows? Arizona has a really bad defense, so you can run on them. Maybe you want to keep them there. George Kittle with the 3-touchdown game, 3 receptions, 3 catches, 3 touchdowns. It was a good game for him. And Curtis Samuel showing out against Chicago. You can throw on Chicago. It's kind of crazy, but that was a good game. I mean, especially they were down. I think they were down pretty quick, so they needed to throw. But shout out Juan taking the win, 3-2, coming out positive on the record setting. Tony dropping down to 1-4 again, like I stated. Might want to make some trades, get some value for one of these guys. I think you can easily turn it around. It's a long season. So don't stress it. We're gonna get into the next matchup. Baker Mayfield, Ryan having a really solid week, 135 against Roman, who essentially meet his projections. Um, Even if Ryan just hit his projection, he would have lost, but just barely. Let's take a look at Ryan's team. Lamar just not needing to, well, not being able to do shit against Pittsburgh. I didn't get to watch much of that game, so I'm kind of curious to see what exactly went wrong with that game. No touchdowns at all from him, not rushing or passing. Wow, that I did not know. But Jamar Chase, finally, Cincinnati's offense showed up, and I've been waiting for that to happen. And against Arizona, that is the team you want to do it against. That is a really good turning point. So you're happy to see Jamar Chase do this. Devontae Adams, that was just a terribly fucking ugly game, and it was all because of Jimmy Garoppolo. Honestly, it's amazing that they won against Green Bay. I don't know what they did against Jordan Love, but they figured him out. Pretty good value out of both of your running backs. Alvin Kamara starting to turn it around, coming back from his 4-game suspension, and then DeAndre Swift. No touchdowns out of him, but I mean, you're happy hitting your projection. You're not going to complain about that. Travis Kelce got his touchdown, I think, after coming back from being injured. And then your flex, kicker, defense, they all were consistent. Looking over at Roman, I think I said this before, you want Kirk Cousins, you want Minnesota to be down in games because they start throwing. And that's essentially what he had to do to keep in the game. Justin Jefferson, this probably could have got you the win, but he got injured. So going to the IR, minimum 4 games going to be missing. So maybe you might want to look to trade Jefferson and get some value. You know, even if you can take those 4 games and turn around those 4 games with him being gone, you're sitting at what, 5-4? That's potential playoff spot. Jalen Waddle, he hit. Can't be mad at that. Najee Harris, just everything. It seems like it was an ugly game. Not too much going on. Only 17-10. So you want a higher scoring game for more output. David Montgomery, probably one of the best sleeper running backs of the year so far. I know he had a massive 3-4 touchdown games a couple weeks ago, so he's definitely feeding them. And the coach for Detroit came out and said he's definitely a bell cow, 25 plus catches or attempts a game. So you're happy to hear that, especially if you have David Montgomery. Not happy if you have Jahmyr Gibbs like I do in another league. Kyle Pitts finally getting some action, dude. He's been dog shit all year. That's finally happened. 11 targets. They finally fed him against Houston. I'm surprised it didn't happen into one of these. I'm pretty sure I dropped Kyle Pitts. Well, no, I dropped Ingram. Never mind. But you're finally happy because Kyle Pitts is actually a really good football player, and they're just not featuring him. Brandon Ayuk, I mean, the game just didn't go any of the receivers' way, either him or Debo, or even Christian McCaffrey technically had a bad game by their standards. So Brandon Ayuk definitely has the ability to blow up for better than that. We've all seen it, and so you're just kind of bummed out that you missed that. But your kicker and your defense did really well. You kind of just went up against a really good team. If someone told me I was going to score 116, I would probably be happy with that, but obviously you want more than that, and Ryan just kind of showed out. So Ryan's sitting in 3rd place right now, and Roman's sitting in 10th. Like I said, maybe make one of those trades, maybe even trade away Montgomery and get some deep running back value and maybe some wide receiver value and turn it around. Remember what I said, it's a long season, more than half of it to go. People can make late runs into the playoffs. And going in to the next matchup, we have our undefeated, still 1st place, also Alexander, coming in 1st place, barely beating his projection, against Jonathan, who is everyone knows at work. Jonathan is making major changes every week to his team, and it's starting to turn out really well, especially with Cooper Kupp coming back from IR. You're happy to see that. But let's go over through Oso's team. Josh Allen, fucking quarterback of the year so far, 36 points, 359 passing yards with 3 touchdowns in total on a loss. Damn, that boy tried everything and just didn't get that win. Debo, that's going back to everything went to Kittle's way, and then everything was on the ground. They kind of use Debo and Ayuk as distractions, but you're happy with that, honestly. Christian Kirk, you're happy with that too. Did he get a touchdown? No, but he just got his 6 receptions, so that's easy points. Plus, yeah, that's a good game. You're happy with that. Going exactly what I said. Christian McCaffrey technically had a bad game. You're expecting over 20 for him. Easily his worst game of the year compared to everything else that he's done, but they just didn't need him, which is great because if you smack Dallas and not need Christian McCaffrey, just imagine if we used him. Brian Robinson didn't have a really good game. Only 6 rushing attempts. You kind of want to see much more than that, but I think they just got down so quickly that they really had to consider throwing the ball more. So it was more like a situational aspect of why they didn't need him. Cole Kmet, good game, 12. He got that 1 touchdown with 5 receptions. That's very good. You're very happy with that. And Isaiah Pacheco really starting to show out like he's going to be the lead back in Kansas City, but they distribute the ball so much. His volatility can be so high and low. But you're happy with him breaking 10. So honestly, you're not mad at that. These kind of split. Let's go ahead and take a look at John's lineup. Jordan Love, I think as soon as I walked in on a Tuesday at work, I saw Jordan Love hit the fucking waiver wire. He was pissed off with those 3 interceptions, and I don't blame him because this could have easily won you the game. I know Alex was kind of shitting it a little bit. AJ Brown showing out, doing what his thing is. Cooper Kupp getting right back into his form. Looks like he's never even lost a step. Bijan Robinson, you kind of expect a little bit more out of that, and it kind of hurt that he fumbled the ball, but he also didn't get a lot of rushing yards at only 46. I didn't watch that game, but it looks like it was kind of ugly, so I'm interested to see like what Atlanta's quarterback actually did on that game, to see if it was like all through the air or not, because that's only 1 touchdown on the ground. Raheem Mostert hit his average. I mean, he's probably going to get a lot more run, especially with A-Chain out, and I would know that for a fact because I have A-Chain, and I'm really fucking upset that I lost him. So, Raheem, you're probably going to start looking at that might be his floor going forward. Just my guesses. Hawkinson, you're happy with that. Romeo Dobbs, just the ugliest game against Las Vegas, and I think they figured out Jordan Love had that little stat going, so it didn't work out for you. But your kicker, I mean, you're okay with that. 6-point attempts made, so you're fine with that. And then your defense showed out against Dallas. He had a really good game, 3 interceptions. Surprised he actually didn't score on them, but it was kind of a dominating effort all around. I don't know why that just fucking switched over there. And going into our last game with Orlando putting the smackdown, honestly, on Travis. And I think this is why Travis didn't want to do the breakdown. Save the best for last. Orlando with a 142, biggest margin of win this week. So shout out Orlando. His team came through with Tyreek Hill leading the way at 32 points. I regret trading him. I want it back. So let's undo that trade. Matthew Stafford, he's very consistent, and it was a bad game against Philadelphia. From what I can tell, it's just Philly knows how to control the game really well as they go through. So it's kind of just a bad situation to be in. But DeAndre Hopkins finally to show out too. I still would like to see a little bit more out of Ryan Tannehill, but 140 yards with no touchdowns. I mean, dude, just imagine if Hopkins actually scored. That's a different game. And a considerably larger score as well. Josh Jacobs, he can definitely continue to be for the rest of the year one of their heavier payload carriers for their offense, because their offense just doesn't look that great. Jacobs and Adams, I mean, you're going to lean on both of those guys hardcore in the offense. Kenneth Gainwell, he just didn't have his game. That's not looking too good, especially as your secondary running back. Maybe you want to consider trading some of the value that you may have to kind of turn this record around. Keep going forward. Maybe get some value for, maybe Tyreek. Get some stupid value for it. Or maybe even, I wouldn't trade Jacobs. Interesting. You have some options. You have some options to do. Cortland Sutton, bad game against the Jets. They got a great defense, and you know, whatever. The Jets were out to win that game for the offensive coach, because he was the coach that got fired from Denver. So they kind of showed out for him. Tyler Bass, you're kind of upset at that, but it was just a weird game, and Jacksonville kind of just controlled it. But you're happy with your defense, getting 18 points. That's a great game, especially against Baltimore. But going over to Travis, he had some big duds. Niners, baby. Patrick Mahomes, having a weird season. He's not really having that all-star season you want him to have so far. I mean, obviously these two are kind of like the standout games, but everything else has just been not needed by him. Devonta Smith, I mean, that game kind of went to A.J. Brown, so they're going to go back and forth. I know he started off hot, and I think that week 3 was the one when A.J. Brown kind of started being upset about his output, and the squeaky wheel gets the grease, as they like to say about players who kind of start talking. And Adam Thielen, this is very interesting. Adam Thielen's old as fuck, but he's performing. And if you told me that Adam Thielen was going to be scoring 16, 30, 11, and 26 in consecutive weeks with almost 9, 8, almost double-digit targets consistently, I would have told you you're fucking crazy. But he is. And so that rookie quarterback, that number 1 pick overall, what's his name? Moore? I can't even remember who it is. He's definitely leaning on the veteran, and that's great. So very sneaky late round pickup. I guarantee you this was in double digits. Guarantee. Derrick Henry not really hitting his, and it sucks because I'm a Derrick Henry fan. I love the dude, but they just didn't need him. This is kind of like a rivalry game. Tennessee and Indy, they always kind of go at each other, and they kind of just didn't hit with them. Derrick Henry probably like a first round, maybe an early second round pick, just not hitting. And Miles Sanders as well, probably getting hurt. I didn't really see what happened with him, but you're not happy with that at all. Evan Ingram, tight ends are either boom or bust. Didn't hit, but they got the win, so I'm sure he's happy on that. But your flex hit, which is good call on Jacoby Myers. That Las Vegas offense, 75 yards for a touchdown. You're happy with that. And then your kicker, you're definitely happy with that compared to Tyler Bass's. But that I mean, damn, I knew we were gonna win, but I wasn't expecting that game. And so, number 1 defense going up against essentially like the number 1 or number 2 offense in the league. Someone was about to give, and it gave, luckily, to the Niners side. So that's our matchups for the week. Since it is kind of a late thing, I can go ahead and show the standings right now. Also standing undefeated. So remember that when you have that undefeated crown still, people are going to start coming after you. So I know everyone's trying to knock off Oso from the top and say they're the ones that actually do it. Me, Ryan, Travis, Robert, and Juan all tied at 3-2. And the only difference is the scoring. This is why I'm ahead of everybody right here and why Juan is at the least. It's the amount of points scored. Not very far difference between me and Ryan in second, third. Not very far difference. Small little difference. Still about 20, 25 points. But look at that. Your 5th and 6th is separated by 0.4 points, essentially. And then going down, do not get discouraged. Do not get discouraged. It is a long season. Look, I'm on a 2-week losing streak, right? Juan's on a 3-week winning streak. Juan started 0-2, and that's when you start making adjustments, making your changes to your team, and seeing what you can do differently to kind of turn that ball around. And Juan has done that. So shout out Juan. Shout out JM for doing that shit, turning it around. I need to turn it around. I need to start figuring out what I'm going to do. Do not get discouraged down here, 7 through 10. Do not get discouraged. Start making some trades. Start getting some values. Start playing the waiver wire. Play the waiver wire hard. It's Jonathan playing this thing really hard. 26 moves. Roman, you have one waiver wire trade, bro. Come on, man. Come on. I know you you guys can definitely turn these around. Robert has not needed anything. Also has not needed anything. It's kind of hard when you have a stacked team like that. And then look at Ryan. I mean, he turned his around too. From the way that he drafted, he had so much running back value, and he's turning around, start getting them wins, and start stacking them up. But that's gonna be it so far. Kind of a long video of 20 minutes. Sorry, I kind of rambled a little bit, but it's a good week. It's a good week. We got some good matchups coming up, and I'm gonna be interested to see how these teams come around. Everyone kind of looks like it's gonna be a good close matchup so far. Only about a 10-point difference, except for this one. Roman, you need to make those changes. I think you still have JJ in your lineups. That's probably reflecting it. But everyone's within about a 10-point margin. So these games can go either way, honestly. It's going to be a good week. And I think another big round of buys are coming in week 7. So the week after this, I know there's going to be a couple teams on buy. And I think a couple of those heavy hitters are going to be on buy as well. So get ready for an ugly week after this one. But this one right now, week 6, has turned out to be a good one. So with that being said, good week 5. Congrats to the winners. Y'all is a good shit overall. Can't be mad. And get those teams turned around. Let's have a good week 6, and let's see who's gonna come out victorious. 5 of us gonna win, 5 of us gonna lose. So good job, guys. See y'all later.